Today we're hanging out in Soper's Hole over on the west end of Tortola, which is really the gateway into the British Virgin Islands. And we're on board a 4-cabin Leopard 48 named Vicarious that we're gonna take you sailing on today and show you why the owners of this well-equipped blue water cruising boat have chosen to spend the last 4 seasons sailing around the BVIs. My name's Wiley Sharp with Catamaran Central. Let's go sailing. We're going to begin today's tour here at the Helm, and like any sailboat, this is the heart of the operation. Now, I've been around Leopard catamarans for a very long time. In fact, working with Leopards is where I got my start in the yachting industry, and one thing that has been consistent throughout the brand's DNA is a well thought out helm arrangement that makes it a very easy boat to sail single-handed. This helm arrangement has 3 Harken self-tailing winches, including 1 powered winch over here on the starboard side, as well as a manual winch on the port side and a dedicated traveler winch center line of the helm, all going to jammers, which means line management is a breeze. So here at the Helm, we have a full suite of Raymarine electronics, which includes wind, touchscreen chart plotter with integrated AIS, a tri-data display, the autopilot display, the Fusion stereo control system, and then below that we have the Yamaha engine start panels, a set of switches for the batteries and fuel transfer, and then on the outboard side we have the throttles. From here we're going to go ahead and make our way down to the cockpit. As you can see, there's a really close natural connection from the helm to the cockpit, meaning that even when you're up on watch, you're still connected with all the activity going on down here, which could be anything from a meal here on this large U-shaped settee, or just talking to your wife while she sits here in the shade reading a book over on the starboard side in the L-shaped settee. There's also more than adequate storage here in the cockpit, be it in the oversized propane locker or the aft-facing bench. Another notable feature here in the cockpit is the installation of the aftermarket drink refrigerator, as well as a Dometic cooler that they use to supplement the interior cold storage on board Vicarious. Before we make our way into the salon though, let's just take a quick stop at the 2 engine compartments on board Vicarious. This boat is powered with a pair of Yamaha 4 JH series motors, driving that power through some SD60 sail drives, transitioning that power through the water with a set of folding propellers. Also here on the transom of the boat, we have the electric dinghy davit, which makes deploying and retrieving the tender so simple that there's no excuse not to pull it out of the water every night. A hot cold shower, as well as a dive style ladder over on the port transom. Before we even really dive into the salon, let's just talk about something that you guys can't feel while watching this on YouTube, is the breeze moving through the space, courtesy of the signature front door that Leopard really helped popularize with the Leopard 48. We're going to begin here in the port aft section of the salon in the galley. And you've heard me say this in other videos before, the galley in the Leopard 48 is a very, very well thought out galley, which has allowed the owners of this boat to operate a very high-end crude yacht charter business because of the workspace. It's further supplemented by adding some additional countertop with an integrated ice maker. But other than that, what makes this a functional galley? I think it's really nice having the trash can that you can access from the countertop. I think having a dual basin sink with a drying basin over on the port side also lends itself to being a very functional galley with storage above, storage below, a 3-burner cooktop, a bank of drawers forward of the oven, as well as storage below. Now, another nice thing that they did on this boat as well is they had some custom cabinetry made, which goes over the companionway on the port side, giving them a whole ton of storage that would otherwise not be there. Continuing forward from there, we're going to go ahead and check out the forward-facing nav station, which on this particular boat, they've added a Raymarine hybrid touch chart plotter, a VHF control, the Iridium Go, somewhat rendered obsolete by the Starlink on board the boat, as well as the upgraded Fusion stereo control head unit. There's also storage beneath the nav station, underneath the seat in the nav station, as well as the shelving on the outboard side. Adjacent to the nav station, we have a large U-shaped settee, and I love it on these Leopards in particular when the owners remove the salon table and put some type of coffee table there. In this case, another Dometic unit to help further supplement the cold storage on board Vicarious. And it's also worth mentioning that if you did want to put the table back in, the owners have that table as part of the boat's inventory, as well as a hydraulic high-low for it too. There's also more than adequate storage under the cushions of the settee. From here, we're going to go ahead and make our way over to the electrical panel on board Vicarious. And one thing we haven't even talked about yet on board this boat is the copious amount of solar, lithium batteries, as well as Victron power management system. They're able to run the air conditioning without running the generator. So for those hot summer days in a place like the Bahamas when the breeze will fall off, you can keep this boat cool while remaining carbon neutral. So we've got a couple of things going on here in the electrical panel. First is we have the Victron battery monitoring system here, the remote start for the Northern Lights generator, as well as the air conditioning controls. Now this particular boat, they replaced the hull air conditionings with Mayberry units, which are incredibly efficient, part of why you're able to run the air conditioning off of the batteries and solar. Below that, we have the standard Leopard panel, which has the 12 volt on the outboard side and the AC power on the inboard side. On the outboard side of that, we also have additional storage on the shelf, an oversized television, and then below the panel, we have an isotherm dual zone fridge freezer, which is one of the best and one of my most favorite upgrades ever found on a Leopard 48, because the factory drawer system refrigeration does leave a bit to be desired. So we're going to begin this foredeck section actually here in the forward cockpit on board Vicarious. And this to me is the best spot on a Leopard 48. You know, in the Caribbean, you get the afternoon sun, which can be quite hot, and the wind is always coming out of the east. So that combination of a fresh breeze coming from the east and the sun being behind you and staying in the shade makes this place exceptionally comfortable. A couple of steps brings us up onto the foredeck, and there's a few things we'll talk about briefly up here. First is that both forepeaks have been fitted out for storage, giving you more than adequate space for all of your water toys, surfboards, fishing gear, etc., etc. They carry a lot of toys on board this boat. Inboard of both of those hatches, we have the two main deck lazarettes. On the port side is where the Northern Lights generator is housed, and on the starboard side is where we have two water tanks, providing you with just over 200 gallons of water, which is easily supplemented by the water maker on board this boat. Another unique feature that you don't find on all Leopard 48s is this boat is actually equipped with a bowsprit. Now they don't have the sprit actually rigged as we're sitting right now, but you do notice that there is a crossbeam going from the bridge deck up to the forward cross member, meaning that it would be very, very easy and inexpensive to add a code 0 to this boat. From the salon, we're going to make our way down the starboard companionway to check out the first 2 of 4 staterooms on board Vicarious. As a 4-cabin layout, the port and the starboard hull are a mirror of each other. Making our way forward, we have a semi walk-around queen-size berth with ample natural light coming in from the overhead hatch, as well as the outboard porthole. Adjacent to the window on the outboard hull, we have a hanging locker as well as shelf storage above the berth. Continuing aft from there, we get to the first of 4 dry heads on board the boat with a separate shower stall. Continuing aft through there, we make our way to the second stateroom on board Vicarious, which also is a semi walk-around queen-size berth with not only an overhead hatch, tons of natural light coming in from the outboard side, but also a window on the transom giving you near panoramic views. From here, we're going to continue across the salon make our way into the port hull, which is a mirror image of what we've already seen. Traditionally, a 4-cabin layout in a boat like this is called a charter layout versus an owner's version. Although if you're using this boat privately, the 4-cabin layout can be great. I've seen owners of 4-cabin boats convert one of the heads into a dive locker, another into a laundry room, as well as converting one of the berths into an oversized workspace / pantry storage area. Whether you've got your entire family on board or you're just cruising with your significant other, the 4-cabin layout can be incredibly versatile and customizable depending on what your float plan is. Thank you guys so much for coming aboard Vicarious with us today. I hope you enjoyed our time on board as much as I did. If you've got any questions on this very well equipped Leopard 48, please leave a comment down below, shoot me an email, and as always, if you like what we have to say, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Can't wait to see you on the next one.